With week one of the NFL season behind us and in the rearview mirror, we were able to see every single team and what they might shape up to look like as the season goes on and see kind of where they might rank as far as talent across the league or power ranking of sorts. And today we're going to look at the top 10 teams after week one heading into week two. Depending on when it's posted, week two might have already begun. But let's take a look at who the top 10 teams are. At number 10, I'm still going to put the Bengals here. I think they dropped a little bit from where I would have had them in the preseason. But you can't drop them too high out of the top 10 because this is Joe Burrow's first game back from his injury. Jamar Chase had, 2 days of practice time before the game. You didn't have T. Higgins. So you were missing a lot of pieces first game with Zach Moss in this offense. So I would credit this loss they had to just lack of readiness, I guess, not lack of talent for the rest of the season. I think once they get Jamar back in wide receiver shape and get T. Higgins back and Joe and Zach can kind of get a couple of games under their belts on a new team / from injury, and the defense could kind of figure it out a little more, which all defenses kind of in the first few weeks are trying to figure it out. Some do a little bit better than others, but I still do think that this can be a top 4 seed in the AFC this year. So I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility to keep them in the top 10. I'm just going to have them at 10. At number 9, I'm going to put the Dolphins here, and I'm only putting them at 9 because they won. They probably would have been at 10 if they lost, but for some reason they were able to eke out the win against the Jags thanks to a nice turnover by Javon Holland and then that 80-yard touchdown by Tyreek Hill. Couple of touchdowns, but they had a missed field goal, a couple turnovers on down, so they left a lot of points to be desired, and the run game kind of really wasn't even there. Devon Achane was more involved in the passing game than he was the running game, and I mean, props to him. He did a great job in the passing game, and there was a lot left to be desired. So I think that as the season goes on, they'll probably figure it out, and maybe they'll rise a little bit, but I think they'll pretty much stay in this 8 to 13 range for most of the season. At number 8, I'm going to put the Cowboys here. They did have a very convincing win. It wasn't really much due to the offense. The offense did fine, don't get me wrong. Dak got his brand new deal hours before the game, and then CeeDee Lamb got his a little bit before that as well. And they played fine, but the real staples of this game were the defense, holding them to 6 3-and-outs, an interception, and a field goal in their first 8 possessions. And then also the special teams with Brandon Aubrey going 4 for 4 with a 50 and a 57-yarder. And then obviously Kevontae Turpin's 60-yard punt return TD. The Cowboys, they did what they are going to do. They went out and they beat a not super amazing Browns team. The Browns have it on paper, but they just can't seem to figure it out yet on the field. So it was a great win for the Cowboys. I'm not the Cowboys fan, but I got to give credit when credit's due. They had a great game plan. I don't know if you could have written a better game script for them to follow through with. It was a very convincing win. So we'll see how that carries into the rest of the season. They usually are always really good in the regular season. It's just come playoff time. That's when we will keep an eye on them. So I got the Cowboys at 8. Number 7 is the Buffalo Bills. They did not have a very good start to the game. Arizona seemed like they were in control for the first 20 minutes of that game. And they were up 17-3, but then you got the touchdown on each sides of the half to tie it, and then you kind of just took the lead from there and didn't really give it back. It would have been a lot more lopsided had there not been that kick return touchdown, 96 yards or whatever. So Bills, everyone's been preying on their demise this summer, because of the loss of Stephon Diggs. They went out and proved them wrong. It was a little shaky. They had to work for it, that's for sure, but they got the job done, and Thursday night's going to be a little bit more of a struggle bus for them with coming in and having to take care of the Dolphins. But we'll see what happens. If the game already happened by the time this is up, then spoiler alert, I don't know how this game is going. So at 6, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. They were just a half of toe away from potentially tying or potentially winning this game against the Chiefs to open the season on Thursday night. But you didn't. It was a good game. Lamar, you got to make that throw in the end zone at the end of the game. You cannot miss that throw to, I think it was Zay Flowers, in the middle of the end zone, wide open. Defense kind of struggled a little bit, which I was calling it in the preseason. Is you lose your defensive coordinator and two of your defensive stars, in Patrick Queen and Geno Stone. So you guys are fine. You're going to be fine. You've got Lamar. Derrick Henry did fine for when he did get the ball. They some reason stopped giving him the ball as much, even though he was kind of doing really good and scored the opening touchdown. But we'll see kind of where they go from here. I'm not worried about them winning games by any stretch of the imagination, but you tried to take down the defending champs, and sometimes you just get hit in the mouth. So at 5, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Great showing in Brazil for the Eagles. The first couple drives were a little iffy, I will say. But Saquon got his game going. Jalen Hurts started figuring it out. A.J. Brown had that big one. I think it was a 67-yard touchdown. Devonta Smith did his thing. Dallas Goedert did his thing. That defense did their thing. Zach Bond, the linebacker, he had a good game as well. It sucks to see that Jordan Love got hurt at the end of the game. It was a great game in Brazil. Brazil was a great... Brazil should be thankful that they got that game. It turned into an amazing game, close game. But the Eagles, they showed that they can still be a dominant team in the NFC, especially a weaker NFC compared to the AFC. So they'll be in this list for sure for most of this season. I have no doubt about it. Number 4, got the Houston Texans. A well-fought victory over the Colts in Week 1. Downsides. We'll start with the downsides. C.J. Stroud was sacked 4 times. They allowed a blocked punt deep in their territory, which led to a Colts touchdown, which made the game a little closer. You just got to clean up a little bit of that, and this is a one-sided game, really. And the defense has a little bit of they need to work on, but as I said earlier, all defenses usually kind of come out and they got to make adjustments for the first few weeks. First few weeks are usually more offensively based games than defensive. Once you get into the later months of the year, then defenses have a chance to get film on these offenses and tweak and make adjustments and things like that. But that offense, man, when they got going, I mean, C.J. Stroud picked up right where he left off with Nico Collins, and Stephon Diggs got 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon had his best running back games since, I think, 2021 with 159 rushes, or 159 rushing yards. Jeez, 159 rushes would be nuts. But I think if they can just shore up that O-line a little bit, not allow as many sacks, and don't allow a blocked punt deep in your own territory, you'll be in every game. You'll have a chance to win every game. So I loved what they did, and obviously it's with the raw arm talent of Anthony Richardson. He's bound to make a couple of big plays like that 60-yard touchdown bomb that he had. It is just nuts, and you're not going to see that every week as well. So I got the Texans at 4. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. That game Sunday night against the Rams was great for them. They established the run when they needed to do it in crunch time, in the overtime. But you had the breakout game from Jameson Williams. Defense kind of got tore up a little bit at times throughout the game, but like I said, every single time, the defenses need a little bit more time to adjust than offenses do to start a season. And the fact that they were able to go out and win in basically a playoff-like atmosphere, they just put the Rams away in the playoffs 8 months ago. So the fact that they were able to go out and do it again, and this time not even utilize their best player to the fullest in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like I said, I think he had 4 targets all game. Just shows me just how good this Lions team is and what they can do when they're firing on all cylinders. Now it's just a matter of firing on all cylinders, and I think they will get to a point where they absolutely will be, without a doubt in my mind. Number 2 is the San Francisco 49ers. They had a dominant win over the Jets. A good Jets team, let's not get it wrong. A good Jets team, but they were without Christian McCaffrey. Shout out to Jordan Mason. Awesome game. Overall, they just played really well. They played sound football. Debo had a great game. Ayuk missed one in the end zone, I believe, or it was close to the end zone. But other than that, the Niners are going to do what they've been doing for the last 5 seasons. They're going to be dominant in the regular season and postseason. It's just going to be another season of that unless there's a freak injury or something. But there's not much else to say. It was a dominant win, great looking win. Team looks good, and I think they're going to be good all season. I don't see them dropping below 3, maybe, if another team has a superstar rise. So shout out to the 49ers. You're doing it right. And last but not least, obviously you have your 2-time defending champ, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Xavier Worthy showed out in his debut. Patrick Mahomes did his thing. The defense struggled at times, but at the end of the day, they were able to make it happen. Chris Jones was a menace in the beginning of that game. It was absolutely nuts. Isaiah Pacheco was able to do his thing. Guys were just they were flying around the field. I mean, they looked like they didn't miss a single step. So it's going to be really scary. We're going to see who, if anyone, can dethrone these guys and stop the three-peat. But as far as you got to beat the champ to become number 1. So that's my top 10 teams for going into week 2 of the NFL season. Let me know in the comments what teams you have, what teams you would have put in or left out. I'd love to hear what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.